Hello, guys. It's me and Corey again. Today, we decided to talk about
Twilight.
yes, because my sister wanted to watch the Twilight movies, and I got sucked in for various reasons. Not because I wanted to watch Twilight as much as just I was curious on why they would want to watch Twilight. But my findings are interesting, but predictable nonetheless. Twilight, of course, is awful. But there's a framework. All you have to do, Twilight is like a terrible, gaudy building with great framework. All you have to do is just tear the whole thing down. And with the base, just build it into something better. That's the best way I can describe Twilight. Tear it down to the base. Like, at the heart of Twilight, what's it about? It's about a girl in a love triangle between a werewolf and a vampire. Oh, I'm sorry, not werewolf, shapeshifter. It's a werewolf. God.
It's not a werewolf.
They try to be so fucking clever. Like, it's not a werewolf, it's a shapeshifter.
It's not a werewolf. Because he can change anytime he wants to.
Yeah, but he can change into anything else but a werewolf. Then he's a werewolf!
But he's not like a traditional werewolf.
There's lots of different kinds of werewolves, but they're still werewolves. Like, there's different brands of tubs, but they're all still tubs. I mean, jeez. But yeah, basically, so how to make Twilight better? What do you think would have made Twilight better, Corey?
Literally anything.
Well, first thing, the biggest...
It's a guilty pleasure movie for me. It was one that I grew up watching a lot as a teenager. And like with Aaron, it holds a special place in our heart.
Special place. Isn't that like to say I have a special place in my heart for baked liver?
Ew.
Yeah, see?
The books are better. 100% better.
Really? The books are better?
Yeah, books are always better.
How are the book? What was in the books what did the books do better than the movies?
It actually made sense. And would actually seemed better.
How can they make sense?
You hate Twilight.
See, Twilight brought in this style, this young adult love triangle bullshit that's been in every movie for a pirate. Like Twilight, there was freaking the Divergent series, Hunger Games, and then
how dare you bring Hunger Games into this?
Oh, I will bring Hunger Games into
Hunger
this.
Games is on an amazing tier.
No, all right, look.
The books are fantastic. I love the books.
I was forced to read the first book for a college class, and I hated it. I still hate it. I hated it before then, I hate it now. Zero changes. What will happen in a book, I knew it would happen, and I hated it. You know why? Because the book isn't original. The book is just a copy of... It's like someone put, like, key terms in a book generator, and it created the Hunger Games.
You're so mean!
It's the truth!
No, it's not. It's a good book, and it's a good movie series.
Look, here's the thing about the movies.
Come on.
The movies, technically, aren't bad. Okay? Because you have the cast, you have the choreography and effects. The story sucks. Ergo, it ruins the movie. If I hate the story, I'm going to hate the movie no matter how good everything else is. Because I can't get into everything else if every second I'm thinking, God, this story fucking sucks. God, this story fucking sucks. But anyway, Twilight. Here, first of all, anything good that was in the Twilight movies was in the flashbacks. It's obvious that the people who were making the movies cared more about doing this kind of style in the past than in the present. So, go with that. Put it in the past. Make it a style of a classic horror movie, like something like the Hammer horror movies from the 50s and 60s, where they mix classiness with gore and sex. Seriously, look it up. Like seriously. Or make it like, kind of something. I mean, make it like a 50s kind of somewhat like maybe a little bit campy romp, or put it in the 80s and have it be kind of like a classic 80s horror. Literally any time period of horror, make it that style with the base characters.
So basically what you're saying, Twilight could have been better if it had more of horror elements.
It's a vampire and a werewolf. Of course there should be horror elements. Now, granted, it doesn't have to be like a gore fest. It could be something like that Jim Carrey movie where he thinks he's a vampire.
Jim Carrey movie?
One of Jim Carrey's earliest movies. My sister saw it a while ago. It's called like Once Bitten. It's actually not bad. It's a very kind of light horror movie, but the vampire's real in that one. It's not like Vampire's Kiss, where... What are you doing? She's addicted to TikTok. Like, I have to pat her hand 5 times before she remembers what she was going to do, because she constantly goes through the TikToks. But yeah, take away, put it in a different setting, and then maybe, and here's another thing, that whole thing of the hierarchy, they're coming after us, this and that, cut all that shit out. Fuck the hierarchy shit. Just have it be a vampire and a werewolf. That's it. You don't need a clan, you don't need all the backgrounds and histories or whatever. If you do, don't make it sound like it's some big organization of huge importance. It's just them. There's not any... And I guess, a lot of simple stuff. Make it look good cinematography speaking. Have good actors that have actual chemistry. Have depth. And, I mean, I don't know what else to go from there. It's not like I put that much thought into it. But, basically, I'd say the biggest change would probably just be the setting. You gotta... If you're gonna make a love triangle between a vampire werewolf and a human girl, you gotta give it much more spice. Because, basically, Twilight movies were pretty much just... Let's just cash in on what people are into, the style that people are into now, and we'll go from there.
I hate it.
What do you hate?
Handsome Shrek.
I mean, it's like Handsome Squidward.
I hate it.
But yeah, that's how he would actually look like if he took the Handsome Potion in Shrek 2. But yeah, Twilight sucks, pretty much. But unlike the other ones, Twilight can become better because it's so generic that the bones can be molded into something unique. Or whether in the Hunger Games...
I will say the soundtrack on every single movie is amazing.
That's the one true positive of the movies, is that they have good soundtracks. But you can have the best...
shirtless men.
Yeah, but I mean, you could put together a great playlist while someone's getting butchered, but that doesn't make getting butchered any better.
I want to specifically listen to these songs while I get butchered. Thank you.
But
I mean, if that's your...
But yeah, pretty much the only... You see, in my opinion, the best young adult adaptations by far is the Harry Potter movies. Like nothing else.
They have their issues.
Name them for me. I'm curious.
Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Dumbledore said how calmly. Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
You love it. I know. I remember reading. They caught a lot of flack because Dumbledore. That's very out of character for Dumbledore. But to be honest, the way I see it is that Dumbledore was freaking the fuck out because he cares about Harry, and was freaking out. And I think of it as kind of a moment of just showing that he was,
panicked.
Well, human, and not just some godlike wizard.
But that's what he is. Harry, Did you put your name in the goblet of fire? How did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
But what'd you think of the switch between Richard Harris and then the other guy between 2 and 3?
I think it was a good fit.
Yeah, I think what the other guy brought was he brought more of a youthful energy that because Richard Harris, like you could tell that he was like all powerful, but he was like old as fuck. like he looks like he could croak over any second. He technically did, unfortunately.
Oh.
Well, yeah, he died after filming the second movie because he was like in his 70s, and then they get the other guy.
I think he did a good job.
Yeah, I just think that from what I've read, there is a huge base of fans that feel like the films deviated too far. Like they felt like the first 2 films were like what they should be, and they got too dark. And to be honest, while I don't mind,
Prisoner of Azkaban is the best Harry Potter movie.
I kind of agree a little bit. I mean, of course, people are gonna be like the Deadly Hallows Part 1 and 2, but it's why aren't they the best? To me, Part 1 starts off really good.
Because there was like this whole like thing where like Draco threw Harry a wand.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a redeeming factor for Draco, and they cut it out. And I'm disappointed that they cut it out. I think it would have really made...
They didn't make clear the redemption arc. That's the thing.
Well, in the movies there was. It really didn't show anything.
Yeah.
Except for, like, Draco's mom, like, is my child alive?
And you know what was with that thing with Draco handling, like, the mirror or the trunk or whatever that was in, like, the 6th film?
What do you mean?
Like, because they were spying on Draco because he was, like, handling, like, a mirror or not a mirror, but something like that.
Because he was going into the room of requirements, and in the room of requirements appeared a vanishing cabinet.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Basically, that vanishing cabinet linked up to the one that was in the bad wizarding part of Diagon Alley.
Yeah,
and the Death Eaters used that to get into Hogwarts Castle.
But a lot of people I read said that the movie barely doesn't do a good job explaining what they're doing. Because they said that another criticism was the adaptation of the books. They adapted the biggest book with the shortest runtime, and then other movies that were with books that were shorter, they adapt almost everything, and it's a long ass movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing I seen was the style change. A lot of people were divided over them getting darker. Personally, well, I don't mind the dark cinematography. I've always felt like if you're just gonna film something with black, white, and gray, you might as well make it a black and white movie. Because if you're gonna film in color, actually have color. Don't do this half and half, because then it just looks very, just unpleasing to the eye. But yeah, part 1, I liked how it started, but then by the end of it, I felt like they took a little too much time of them just wandering around by themselves. I felt like they could have cut some of that out. I do like part 2 a lot. Part 2 definitely upped the ante. To be honest, what was 5?
Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, that one kind of... What was big with that one? What happened to that one?
The whole thing of, Dumbledore's, army starting them, practicing defense against dark arts magic, against school rules. Fucking Umbridge.
And then, what was in 6?
The Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, yeah. Why did he call himself that? I never got that. Why did he call himself the Half-Blood Prince? Was it just frickin' Snape? I
don't know.
Is it some name he just put himself in high school?
I don't remember.
It's if you're gonna have something like that, there should be an explanation. I mean, all the other ones, all the other subjects, what, Sorcerer's Stone, they tell you what it is. The Chamber of Secrets,
Nicholas
they tell you.
Flamel and shit.
Yeah, they tell you what it is, but they don't never tell you what the Half-Blood Prince is. But yeah, I do like those movies a lot. they're not. It's hard to say that they're perfect. It's a perfect run. However, compared to what other stuff has come out in that vein, I say it looks fantastic in comparison. Um, I think what I like most about Prisoner of Azkaban, it wasn't like just like the freaking Voldemort show, because all the other, I know the whole thing's like Harry versus Voldemort, but I don't know, it's such a big, massive world that I kind of like that they took some time and just focused on something else, another like plot that didn't have shit to do with Voldemort. Because I don't know. I mean, that's why I say the first two films, I felt like they did a great job of exploring the world, but I felt like after like the earlier movies, they just kind of just settled into what it was, and it started to kind of feel like it was just the same place. I don't know. I just felt it was definitely, by the time the series ended, it felt like it was kind of more of a like a like a serious toned world as opposed to the whimsical world in the beginning. How different do you think the series would have been if it stuck with the whimsical part in the first two movies?
Vastly different.
Do you think it would have been better?
No.
No.
The darker tones were kind of necessary. I can't imagine Deathly Hallows in the same like whimsical, like awestruck.
Well, I don't know.
It was pretty. It
was pretty gritty in the first movie or two, Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the Deathly Hallow movies would have benefited anything if it kept the same bright colors and charm as the first one.
I just feel like
darker tones were necessary for story progression.
But you couldn't tell me like every time you rewatch those first two movies, you're just like,
oh yeah, those two are like boom, right in like childhood.
Yeah.
I remember going to see the second one in theaters.
I never saw them in theaters. Before Corey showed me the movies, the only one I've seen was the first one.
Yeah, no, I made him watch all the Harry Potter movies.
No, not made. I was glad to watch the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, no, my mom almost didn't want to take me because I was like 5 years old at the time that the second one came out.
Mm-hmm.
And they took me to see the first one because I saw the commercial and I'm like, ooh. Apparently it scared me, and my mom was like, oh, you know what happened the last one, you got scared. I'm like, I'm not gonna get scared.
And then the freaking Azkaban, and you have freaking oh yeah, but they killed the little creature, the bird creature or something.
Buckbeak.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. See.
Ah. It hurts me every time I see it.
Oh my god.
Like I know he'll be okay. But it still gets me in my feels.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The first like 2 and 3 movies, I felt like the magic was more explored in that world. The later ones, I felt like they just kind of very kept it like minimalistic. Like, here's the battle stuff. That's it. There wasn't any like, hey, let's go to this world with these things. Let's go to this place with that thing. I don't know. I felt like they could have like explored the world more. I felt like even though the Voldemort versus Harry thing was a huge part, I felt like there was room to do more exploration. But as it is now, I think it's fine. I keep hearing they're gonna do another one because J.K. Rowling. You know what? I remember when she. Oh yeah, freaking. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about the J.K. Rowling thing. Jeez,
I don't know how to feel about it.
It's hard because you grew up and you worship these people, and then their private views come out and it conflicts you because you're like, I love the work, but I just don't like the person. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's tough, but I think at the end of the day, I mean, you can't.
I can't. I still love Harry Potter with my whole heart, and I want to go to freaking Harry Potter World at Universal Studios so bad. Want a butterbeer? I want to get my wand. I want to go.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah,
like for my birthday, if you got me like a Ravenclaw uniform, I would be so fucking happy.
I could get you.
I don't know if I'm a Ravenclaw anymore.
I could get you. You want an actual raven? Caw, caw.
I want to say yes, but I know that at some point in our lives you will actually get me a fucking raven.
I'll get you a raven if you get me a crow.
You want a crow?
Yeah, I can put the makeup on and everything.
No.
Yes. I love that movie.
Fine, if you give me a raven, then I'll dress up like Raven from Teen Titans.
Does Raven actually have a pet raven?
No, but like her like magic stuff is like the form of ravens and shit.
Yeah.
Like Tokoyami. Dark Shadow.
Oh yeah, Dark Shadow. Oh man. But yeah, those movies. But yeah, the.
That's my island tune on Animal Crossing. Is the Harry Potter theme song.
Oh man. But yeah, Harry Potter is definitely. I think it's definitely. Do you think Harry Potter holds up today?
Oh yeah.
You want great movies that don't hold up well. That's a topic. To be honest, I love The Dark Knight. It's like my favorite movie, but I don't think that movie holds. I don't think that trilogy holds up well.
What was the Disney movie that we recently watched?
You mean Hocus Pocus?
No. I think that one holds up really well.
Megaplex?
Yeah, that one.
There
was like some.
Megaplex.
There was some language I think in that one where you just kind of look at me and like, oh, I'm sorry.
What was that language?
I don't remember, but it's
was
not
it
important.
like
It wasn't great. It was kind of like, oh.
Was it?
They wouldn't get away with that now.
Was it? Did it have to do with like heritage? Like Luck of the Irish. Oh my God, that one.
That is.
The thing with Luck of the Irish, and I'll give them. This is where I'll defend them. Is I think they're at that time they were focused on celebrating heritage, and by celebrating heritage was frank discussion of that heritage. But nowadays it can be seen as racist. But back then it was saw as a celebration of like heritage, like I'm this and I'm proud, I'm that and I'm proud. And it was just an acknowledgement.
I like that they had a Native American dancing on stage in regalia. That is a redeeming quality.
Yeah, but oh my God.
God.
Oh, remember when they were in a car and that kid said like, "Oh, you think your ancestors had it tough?" And like, "Oh,
mine didn't even get paid. Irish got paid very little. At least you got paid."
I was like, did they were just frank about slavery?
I was like, they did not just do that in this movie.
Oh my God, you think that was bad? Remember Song of the South? I saw a review of that a while ago, but I think Nostalgia Chick did that. And in all honesty, the reputation, like, it's one of those cases where the reputation doesn't really represent the movie that well.
Mm-hmm.
The movie isn't really like about slavery or anything. It's just like it's just a guy that helps out on a farm and he's just telling kids stories. That's really it. It's not anything like I haven't seen the movie myself, but from what I gathered, it's not anything that's like super racist. It's just the family
underlying themes.
Yeah, well, the family was well to do, but they treated each other, I think, with a dignity. Like they weren't derogatory toward him. It's weird. It was a weird time. But yeah, thing on the Megaplex. What I like about that movie is that movie like it really like when you could tell like who was writing it was actually like trying to write something that was like showing the love of like movies. Like some of the probably the cool part was transitions.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. So you know, like the movie, like Genevieve, Glimpses of Genevieve, like then they showed little scenes of that movie.
Yeah.
That what they took from was Alice, Sweet Alice, the horror. I haven't seen that one. Have you?
Mm-mm.
But yeah,
I've heard of it though.
I have too. It's in like in a bunch of Watch Mojo top 10 videos, but yeah, it's definitely. That's why I like about it is that it just kind of fucking Mickey Rooney in that movie. I mean, look up a young Mickey Rooney. It looks like Tom Holland.
It really does.
It's crazy. What I like, what it's just like in that's what I like about like that movie because it shows like it's like film appreciation. Like it appreciates
Mm-hmm.
films, and I also like how like some scenes really like when
Oh, yeah.
like
Anyways.
like how some scenes like when the characters are in a theater like whatever is in a movie playing relates to the situation they're in. Like for example, like
there was a movie about like a storm or whatever and like a hurricane and shit.
or like the sister was like her brother disappeared and the sister's waiting there and the trucker in the movie was like she disappeared on me again. Like, it's just like that kind of stuff I find clever. But yeah, I think it was I liked it a lot.
Speaking of like Disney like Halloween type movies, we went and saw Hocus Pocus in theaters.
I still gotta do a movie theater review on that.
It was actually pretty dang cool.
I will save some of my thoughts for the review, but I will say that I enjoyed seeing an older movie in theaters. I think it's something that should stay for a couple reasons. One, to spotlight great movies that don't get attention because of life, and two, so that Hollywood studios won't feel the pressure of releasing 8 movies every week, so they can take their time and make actual good movies and not rush crap
that
to
and
the
like
theaters.
to give people a chance to see those older movies in theaters.
You know what would be a great one? Casablanca.
I would love to.
Imagine seeing Casablanca on a big screen again.
I would love to.
Or freaking like a movie from each decade. Let's start with the 20s. Metropolis, that's an easy win for the 20s. 30s, Gone with the Wind. 40s, Casablanca was 40s, I think.
Was To Kill a Mockingbird in the 40s? Or was it 50s?
I think it was 50s. Yeah, go ahead, look it up.
Hey Google. When did the film To Kill a Mockingbird come out? When did the film To Kill a Mockingbird come out? December 25th, 1962.
Oh, 60s.
Yeah.
50s, Rebel Without a Cause, or any of the James Dean movies, which is only 3. All of them were great. 60s could be Mockingbird, Psycho.
What about The Birds?
Birds was 60s too. 70s.
When did the movie The Birds come out? 63.
States of America, The Birds came out on March 28, 1963.
Yeah. 70s. Oh man.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Vertigo for the 50s.
I forgot about it. You see, Hitchcock had a lot of great movies. In all honesty, that could have been it. The interesting part about Vertigo is that's a topic. That's a topic after this. 70s. Oh, Halloween would be cool. Carrie.
There were a lot of like The Shining.
Shining was 80.
Was it the 80s?
1980 80s.
When did The Shining come out? It was like late
In the United States
1980.
of America, The Shining was released on May 23rd, 1980.
I mean, 80s. Oh, 80s. That's the toughest thing ever. I mean, you could pick your pick of anything in the 80s.
The Evil Dead came out in the 80s, right?
What?
The Evil Dead.
Yeah, early 80s.
There were so many horror movies in the 80s.
80s was just a movie boom period. Like you have like a B movie back then will probably be a blockbuster now. I mean, seriously, it's like you have no like 80s was like the golden period of filmmaking. Like anything made back then was probably a minimum good. But yeah, anything in the 80s really. You got some Star Wars, some Indiana Jones. You got a lot of horror.
That's something I would like to see. The original Star Wars movies in theaters. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
We could have saw Empire Strikes Back.
I know, but we wanted to see Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, and that fitted more. I'm surprised they did Empire Strikes Back for October.
I mean, it kind of fits.
I guess. But 90s is a bit trickier. I think for 90s, 90s, Jurassic Park.
Christine came out in the 80s.
Yep. Evil Dead would have been awesome to see in theaters.
Children of the Corn.
But yeah, 90s, Jurassic Park, maybe Shawshank Redemption, because when that movie came out, like, no one saw it. Everyone was just like, meh. It's hard with the 90s because a lot of those films I've seen like a gajillion times. Like Shawshank Redemption's on TV like all the time. 2000, after that, it kind of like 2000s. I mean, I don't know what you could pick from the 2000s to put back in theaters. Maybe like, I'm not quite sure. It's a tough thing. I wouldn't mind seeing the Dark Knight movies in theaters. The only one I've seen in theaters was the third one. And then but yeah, Vertigo. Vertigo is the weirdest Hitchcock movie because because Hitchcock has a certain rule set in his movies that he kind of follows, kind of a loose base pattern. And Vertigo, he kind of portrays them a little bit. It's a bit more twisted. It's a bit more tragic, and it's a bit more. It's much weirder. I will say it's probably my favorite Hitchcock movie because of that, because he kind of goes against his own type for that movie. Oh, and it did terrible at the box office at the time because of that. But I love it. I mean, I remember when I watched it when I got the Blu-ray, and I did some Snapchat captures, and I think I sent them to you.
You did.
Oh my God, do I have them? Can I get them? Yeah, I'll worry about it next time. But yeah.
Okay, what's the camera right now? Your phone.
Oh yeah, jeez, I forgot.
Look in here for your phone.
Ghostbusters would be great to see him. Oh my God, it's another 80s movie. I'm telling you, like, 80s was like golden. Like, to be honest, with movies made from the 60s and older, you're gonna want to stick with like the classics. Because if you go for other things like that, it might be a little bit of a struggle to find any hidden gems. Because one, they didn't make as many stuff back then, and two, when they didn't make as much stuff, that means the amount of good stuff to pick is less. So you're gonna want to stick with the classics. That's why the Criterion Collection is so good, because that's kind of where they focus their stuff on. So Corey, here's a good question for you. What's the oldest movie you want to see but haven't yet?
The oldest movie that I want to see.
But you haven't.
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Might want to do some digging on that. Well, let's think of some good old movies. Let's see. Let's do something. Oh, you know what's a batshit older movie? There's a couple. One is Metropolis, and two is freaking Sunset Boulevard. That one's kind of funny, crazy a little bit. There's a few scenes in it where it's just like, what? What's going on? What else?
Didn't I get you Sunset Boulevard?
Huh?
Didn't I get you Sunset
Yes, you
Boulevard
did.
for your birthday?
Yes, I love it.
That was one of my favorite movies growing up.
What?
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
I haven't heard of that.
It's like a musical type thing, but I watched it with my grandma and my aunt, and I liked it. I also like a lot of Doris Day movies.
Doris Day.
Please don't eat the daisies.
Doris Day was in a Hitchcock movie or two, but I don't think she wasn't in Vertigo. I think that was Grace Kelly. Let's see. What am I thinking? What was I gonna say? But yeah. Metropolis. Oh, you wanna know something interesting? So the guy who directed Metropolis.
Singing in that movie.
That's an old movie. That was in the
I just knew
50s.
the songs from it.
But the guy who directed it, Fritz Lang, he was Jewish. And when he made the movie and released it, it turned out it was Hitler's favorite movie. And he invited him there, and of course he went because I think he lived in Germany at the time. And he's like, and him and the other like Nazi people were like, "Oh, don't worry about you being Jewish. We determine which Jews, go there and there, so you're fine." That night, he went to America, and to this day, oh the kid, oh yeah, Charlie Chaplin movies.
1921.
He made a lot of great ones. The one I want to see is The General. But I haven't seen any Chaplin movies.
1888 seems to be some of the oldest movies.
Yeah, the first movie, I believe.
Traffic Crossing Leeds Bridge is one of the oldest ones.
Another very old one was a Frankenstein adaptation, which was believed to be lost, but I think it was found. And it's on YouTube. And they did a different approach to it. I haven't watched it myself, but
I watched Man in the Moon.
Yeah.
Colorized.
Oh wow, yeah.
And it was amazing.
It's tricky with when you. So what do you feel like about?
Is it still recording?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
What do you feel about the topic of colorizing black and white movies? You think it's something that should be done with all of them, or do you think some movies are better in black and white?
I think that they should be made in the color.
Do you think that's better though in the long run?
I don't think it's necessarily better, but there's always that wonder. I wonder what this would look like in color.
The thing about black and white, the reason why black and white works,
especially those older like 20s and 30s kind of movies
that
are like really trippy looking even in black and white, but you add color to it and it just makes it look more.
Sometimes the quality doesn't help. Sometimes when you clean a movie up, the black and white looks a whole lot better. Mm-hmm. The thing that helps black and white is black and white does a better job than color in terms of lighting, because the shadowy stuff looks super shadowy. That's why there were so many film noirs at the time, because
Trip to the Moon is 1902.
Yeah. Like early films were like a lot of German surrealism, and Metropolis has quite a bit of that. Oh, Metropolis is so fucking grand. You see, I think you'd like Metropolis. Because it's like super like... It's probably one of the most ambitious films ever made. Like, ever. Like, seriously. And it's gone through the most shit of any film in history, in my opinion. Like... It's crazy. But yeah, another old film I think you will love is the original Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Because Lon Chaney...
Does that count as a monster movie?
It was made by... It's tricky because a lot of people consider the Universal monster movie starting with Dracula in the 30s. But
I consider
Phantom of the Opera
as a kind of monsterish movie.
Phantom of the Opera was made in the 20s during the silent film. I think it was made by Universal, but I think the reason why it wasn't included in my collection, for example, was because one, it was during the silent era, so I think they put it in a different category, and two, that one included the remake in the 40s that's in color, which is also very good. What I love about the black and white one, there's a scene in it that has something you wouldn't think they would have back then, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, now I want to see it.
It's on Tubi TV, I think. Yeah, but it is really good because, first of all, Lon Chaney is like, his nickname was the Man of 1,000 Faces because he did his own makeup in all the films he was in, so he changed his face all the time. Like other big films he was in was Hunchback of Notre Dame, or he was the Hunchback, and another one was, the film was partially lost. But there's a huge thing. I forgot what it was called. But it's one where, hold on. God damn it, I don't have my phone. It was the one, I don't know if you saw this, but it's the guy with long hair, top hat, and he has, like, weird teeth. Like, they're all fangs, but he's not a vampire. Mm-hmm. Hey, do you remember seeing something like that?
Yeah.
That was the movie. That was him. So, he only did one talkie film in his career while he was acting. All his stuff was during the silent era, but he was like super good. And what I love about sometimes in silent films is weird, but when I watch them, I feel like I can hear them, even though their voices aren't there. But that's
Oh yeah, your mind like makes up voices.
yeah.
It's like when you read books, your mind creates up voices and accents and stuff to fit the characters that you were reading about or seeing.
That's interesting about silent films is that because they couldn't talk, a lot more of their actions had to be exaggerated. So a lot of times you have a lot of actors who are going like batshit, which is cool. Also, so it's much more theatrical. And two, and this was a true thing when talkie started, like when that changed everything because a lot of silent film stars couldn't get it work anywhere because they didn't like the way their voices sound. So you had a lot of silent film stars that were just gone, just like that. It was kind of sad a little bit, but yeah, it was but yeah, it was definitely a interesting time for filmmaking. And that's kind of filmmaking went through a lot of evolutions. Like if you watch older films, you can see like some of the frameworks they're building on. Like the earlier ones were kind of German surrealism, like arts and paintings, and then you throw in like some other ones where they were kind of based on like stage plays and musicals. Like they would have stuff like that. They would have like in musicals in the beginnings where they have music play before the play starts. They would put that in the movie, so there's like 8 to 13 minutes of just music playing in a background. And intermissions and some of those things as well. It wasn't until but yeah, there's a lot to talk about films in general for another day. But what's another thing? Anything on your mind, Corey? Anything on your mind?
Sorry,
I've been droning on and on about film. There's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to say it all in one video.
And you love films. That's like your number one passions.
When I was young,
I think like just media in general.
Oh yeah, because media
Video games, music, films.
Because that stuff is the kind of stuff that makes us human. Because if it wasn't for that stuff, we'd just be animals hunting, killing, and whatever.
Well, there's still be like play productions and stuff.
Well, I mean, like if you take out this stuff, like not
take out art.
Yeah, just take out art makes us human. Art is necessary because what involved us into human was just us making trinkets. The fact that we made trinkets for us to wear that served no purpose other than because we just wanted to. That's what made us human. That was the trigger. That trigger is the equivalent of games, music, movies, books. That kind of stuff is the trigger.
Do you think schools should put more into arts rather than sports?
Oh, definitely more towards arts for sure. Sports, to be honest, they put a lot more. I was in sports and music in high school, and I have to say that the problem with sports is the fact that. Thank you.
Your boob is about to fall out.
Oh come on. Nah. But the problem with sports is the fact that it's becoming more and more of a niche. Like less and less kids are participating in sports. Not necessarily.
Like more and more kids are doing things like choir or band.
Well, and a lot of it's because.
And I'm all here for it. I've had choir nerd 4 years straight. I have a varsity letter because of it.
That's kind of the biggest thing. I just feel like at this point, because the problem with sports are already developing such a stigma because of whatever.
I feel like participating in arts, even if you do it just for like one trimester or semester, you get a better understanding of things rather than just doing regular classes in a sport.
And plus, I think the biggest thing.
I'm not saying that sports don't teach you like valuable lessons, because they do.
No, they do. It's just the issue with sports is that
they teach you more things like teamwork and stuff like that, whereas art teaches you more things about yourself and life. Anyone
can be artistic, but not everyone can play a sport. That's the biggest thing. I mean, it's one thing.
I don't think I'm super artistic or anything, but I definitely feel more inclined to participate
Well,
in things in art.
There is a difference
departments.
between being into sports and being athletic. Because I feel like you might see more people go to the gym more than play a sport. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that of the stigma. Because if you think about it, when you think of people who play sports, who do you think of?
Asshole.
Yeah, see? You think of the jockey douche who and all that shit. You don't think
Which is not everyone, obviously.
No, it's not everyone, but
he's a very nice being. You wanna know why? Because you supplemented other things. Playing football, you didn't make playing football your personality.
oh yeah, no. I was very well rounded. I had a lot of interests. I still have a lot of interests. The only difference is that
You have more time to explore those interests.
that's why going to college was huge for me.
Then there's just me who just moved out and moved to somewhere else for 2 years and then was like, yep, this is my life experience. Instead of going to college, I just moved away.
Well, but everyone goes on their own life path. The key when you go on your own life path is what you learn. That's the important.
I had to go through everything that I went through after graduating high school to get to this outcome. I would do it all over again. Because even though I'm still struggling with things that happened during that time, I'm happy with who I am and my journey and where I ended up.
Same. But yeah, that's kind of the key thing, really. That's the thing about sports is that there's so much pressure in sports with art and all that stuff. It's more.
It doesn't matter, like if you get an art assignment and you're like, hey, do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't necessarily do it to the full extent of the assignment, the fact that you are trying is still amazing.
Plus, art has so much flexibility. I mean,
anything can be considered art.
Or media, and media is something that you can enjoy in any format, and that's kind of the thing. Athletics is kind of more. For one, athletics you need to be athletic. If you're going to do a sport, you have to have people with you, and of course nowadays, good luck with that. You know, and the other thing is just people just don't like doing stuff with other people a lot anymore, which is a little sad.
I feel like over the course of this year, that has definitely increased.
And I feel like you might. It's tough because you could also make the case that there could be an increase of people wanting to spend more time with people because now they're realizing, you know what, I actually don't like this. I actually do want to spend some time with people every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because
there's a difference when choosing to be alone and being forced to be alone.
Yeah, because it's you feel differently about things when you lose options. That's what I like about media is options. Sports is kind of more of just a singular activity. Media is just a bunch of different stuff, and that's kind of the difference, really. Plus, I mean,
not to say that we don't like sports. We do enjoy sports.
I do love sports. I mean, look at the videos on the channel. I mean, I grew up playing sports games.
I do not care about sports games necessarily, but the actual sports I do like.
You
like
see,
if you wanted to play basketball with me, I'd play actual basketball. You want to play? Hey, let's sit down and play NBA. Blah blah blah. I'm like, no.
Well,
I don't find it entertaining.
Well, I think it depends on the game though, because there's a lot of games that you'll probably find more fun than.
Wii bowling.
Well, there's two kinds of sports games. There's arcade and there's simulation. Simulation is based in realism. Arcade is kind of more like fantasy, like see a guy get a power up or do crazy tackles or someone get like power slammed onto the field, you know, shit like that.
That doesn't really appeal to me.
So
sports games are just I get it, but I just know it's not my cup of tea.
What you would for you it's aesthetics. I feel like if a sports game was more of your style, you'd probably like it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is why I like. It's not necessarily sports, but like esports, like League of Legends, stuff like that. Team-based tower defense games. Mm-hmm. Those are my thing.
Here's a sports game, Rocket League. You see, you like Rocket League.
I like Rocket League. You want to know why?
Why?
Because it's like a defense thing.
Yeah.
It's a team defense game.
Yeah, and with sports, like let's name the big four.
I don't know what it is, because like Rocket League isn't that far off from like soccer or football or whatever. But it's just the way that they do it appeals to me. A regular like soccer or football, I don't feel an appeal.
Well, I think the key is investment. Like you want it if you're gonna play as a team or a person, it has to be something because you don't give a shit about who's playing in the NBA or in the NFL or whatever. I mean, you don't know them. Hell, I don't play the new ones because I'm not invested. Here's a good one: Mutant Football League. It's kind of
That
like
kind of piques my interest a little bit because it's interesting take.
it's like it's a horror. It's like a Tales from the Crypt parody of NBA
Like regular
players.
sports games, no. But if you give it an interesting take, will probably be interested in it.
You should try that game with me.
I watched you play it, and I'm like,
well, just I say give it a go at least once, or better
no,
yet.
I already humored you enough when I played that stupid Dreamcast game.
Oh, that was my mistake. You're not a
Let's get ready to rumble.
That was a arcade boxing game by Midway.
And I'm like,
you see, that's my fault. That's not your kind of game.
I was a good sport about it though.
There could have been a better game, but that's what we had at the time.
And then we played the
Soul Calibur, and that one's more your alley.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we're on very like separate spectrums of gamers.
You see, what a game I really want you to try is the Unreal Championship game up there, because that one's very good. There's a lot of games.
What would you say is the better gamer out of the two of us?
Better gamer? I think you are, but I think a lot of it's because we usually play games you're more adept to. I feel like if we play games I'm more adept to, we'll have to see. Like, a game I'm probably... Like, I beat you in Rocket League in the League Championship.
Yeah.
So
in these sports games, that's like an automatic win.
And the thing is that we're actually more even in Soul Calibur than you might think.
Yeah, fighting games are kind of 50-50.
Yeah, I do like fighting games.
Shoulder.
I think you're definitely better than me at shooters, first person shooters, and a lot of that for me is because the aiming parts. The one I'm very good at, I do like playing a lot is Halo and Doom are my favorite, but Unreal I like a lot. Call of Duty to me is a bit too. It's tough. I love Call of Duty. I think it's a well created game, but a lot of the gameplay to me just feels more. It feels like the default game difficulty to me. Just for a beginner, it's too difficult. It is. I mean, think about it. Like, everyone who plays Call of Duty goes straight to online. Who do they play online? A lot of people who spend all their... Because you're a noob, go online. Who do you usually play against? The top-rated guys. The guys that butcher everyone who've been playing for years.
That's why you play, like, story modes and stuff. So it kind of gets you used to, like, gameplay.
Yeah, and that's what people make the mistake on, because people are like, oh, online. You know?
I always play the story in a Call of Duty game.
Yeah,
I'm always very curious.
I say the problem with online nowadays is that the matchmaking systems always suck, except for Rocket League.
I want to show... We still gotta play original Black Ops Zombies.
We still gotta play the Black Ops games. We still gotta review the 3 Black Ops games for the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they do better than freaking Advanced Warfare. God.
Yeah, you had to like buy zombies separately for Advanced Warfare.
Really?
I think so. Something along. It was a really convoluted way of playing zombies.
Yeah, I say if you're gonna play.
I enjoyed it though when I did play it. Because I thought the use of, like, exos was cool.
I say if you're going to play that game, I say just do the PS4, Xbox One gen, or maybe even 360 gen. I think 360, I think they might do... During the 360 PS3 era, Microsoft had to deal with, like, the people who make Call of Duty games to get, like, some small exclusives like maps or whatnot. That's why so many people played it on that 360. But that went down after the next gen, so... PS4 the Sony kind of swooped that up. That's why it's more evened out. But yeah. So you still want the Xbox One if we can choose, right? It's tough because you see Microsoft sweeping all these exclusive deals, but you don't know what they're gonna do with them.
That's not the Xbox.
The Xbox. Oh, I'm sorry, Series X. The Series X. What the? What a stupid name. A fucking stupid name. Could have kept the 3. Look, if Atari can do 2600, 5200, 7800, you could have done 720 in 1440. The Xbox 1440, a better name. It makes sense. It is a pattern. Look at Sony, PS1, PS2, PS3, and so on. It's simple. It's easy. Microsoft, they just fucked it up. But yeah. But despite all that, I still wouldn't mind getting a Xbox One because there's a few exclusives on there I would like to get. One, of course, is Halo, for sure. 2, I know Guilty Gear's an exclusive series on it, but that's not one thing I might. 2 is the Killer Instinct fighting game on there. And 3 is an arcade driving game that's supposed to be really fun.
I think we should wrap it up.
Wrap it up. But yeah, well, any final words, Corey?
Thank you for listening to our bullshit.
We're just shooting shit. It's just a nice thing to say. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna try to get Mike in on the next episode. And that reminds me, I know I've kind of said to like Rolando that we would stream the second episode, but internet right now is kind of rough, so we'll
stream the second episode. What?
Of this.
Oh.
But we'll
yeah, internet at Fenton's is kind of
up and down.
So if we do this again, it's probably going to be at my place.
Yeah, and we'll definitely stream that one. I think just and also I'm gonna have to change how I end the videos now because of it. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. In case you want to chat with me, Mike, or Corey,
hello.
But you don't want to use the YouTube comment section. We have
a Discord and a new discussion page.
A discussion tab on our channel where you can comment and share your thoughts and requests or whatnot as well as you can on the Discord.
I couldn't figure out how to put it on there, so I had to do it for it.
It's very convoluted in my defense.
It was really easy.
God damn it. Silence!
They're the reason why I jokingly say I'm your tech support.
She actually helped me fix the Xbox I have here.
Yeah, I had to take it apart. And
we took it apart. You fixed it, but we took it apart.
You sat there and held the flashlight while I unscrewed it.
That's an important job. You don't have 3 hands, Corey. But yeah, guys, like I said,
thanks for watching.
And yes, please subscribe and like the videos. And
also, real quick, sorry.
That's okay.
If you have any requests for non-sports related video games that you want to see on the channel, let me know, because I'll be the one that'll do the long playthroughs of games.
Yes, she will. I'm not skilled enough for that kind of thing.
He's the one-off that kind of like introduces the game, and if you want to see more, I will continue.
Yeah, I'm more of like pick up and play. Like, I've only completed... Alright, that's a topic for another day. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.
Bye-bye.